See. Hey guys, Hybrid here. I'm reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy. Spoiler wise, in case you're wondering about this video, I'm not going to spoil anything. I might hint at something, but I'm not going to spoil anything. And if I do hint at something, I'll keep it very vague so you can't know any spoilers. And the reason why is because this video, or this movie, I should say, is a very good movie. So I'll just say that off the bat right now. I saw it twice. I saw it back to back. RPX, aka it's like the Regal version of IMAX. RPX 3D, and then I saw it regular 2D afterwards, just so I can tell you guys if you should see it in 2D or not. Speaking on that, it is extra money to see it in like RPX or IMAX 3D, but I do think it's worth it. This movie is a very visual movie. A lot of that obviously having to do with it taking place mostly in outer space. Well, it takes place basically all in outer space, which is a good thing. Usually movies like this, especially if they have a human protagonist, they like to stay on Earth. So it was nice to see them actually not do that. It's one issue I have with the Thor films, is I feel like they stay on Earth too much. But this movie, they knew it's the galaxy, and they stay at the galaxy. I really did enjoy that. Main character-wise, Peter Quill, Star-Lord, very enjoyable character, very funny. I liked how they played on the fact that basically he only had so much exposure to Earth before he left Earth. That was really funny to see the references he made, especially some of them that, other members of the Guardians repeat later, because obviously they're not from Earth, they don't understand it. So it's really funny when they repeat it. It's incorrect, obviously, in the context they use it, but they don't know that. So it's kind of funny there. Speaking on a few other characters like Drax the Destroyer, they did change his origin quite a bit. It seems like instead of him being a human who gets killed by Thanos and gets recreated as Drax the Destroyer, instead of that, it seems like maybe it seems most likely from what they've hinted at that he's actually a part of a species that is like Drax physically and all that stuff. And they're a very literal species. I don't know how I feel about that. I didn't really mind it per se, because at the end of the day, they still went back to the original purpose of Drax, which I know a lot of people were worried about. So at least the core of the character was there. Gamora, I thought she was fine. I liked how they didn't make her just like a traditional woman character. Like there were moments when easily, they could have been a romance scene, or like a love scene, and Gamora totally denied that stereotypical female character role. And I really did enjoy that. I thought that was really it was really nice to see that. A nice change of pace. Rocket and Groot, they were obviously the highlight of the film, as everyone thought they would be. Regarding each individual teammates, they were a duo, and a dynamic duo at that. And if I sound kind of weird, it's because I've been fighting being sick, which is why we haven't. That's why this week we haven't really made videos, because CJ's on vacation. I've been fighting being sick, and I've been sneezing a lot. Luckily for Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess my nose has been cured of any ill will towards making videos, but. Yeah, Rocket was great. I was very unsure about Bradley Cooper at first, voicing Rocket, because I do have the whole Cockney accent thing stuck in my mind. But over time, his voice as Rocket has grown on me, and he did a good job. I have nothing against his performance. I like the character. I thought the character was really great. Very reminded me of the character from the comics, which was, I thought, pretty great to see there. Also, Groot was much more violent in this movie than I remember him being in comics, which I didn't mind per se. It was just kind of interesting to see. Vin Diesel did a good job with his "I am Groot." How many times he had to say that, which actually it wasn't as many times as I thought he would end up saying it in the movie. But he did a really good job. And you guys might not know this, but my second favorite animated movie of all time is The Iron Giant. Lion King is number one. Lion King. But The Iron Giant is my second favorite movie of all time, and Vin Diesel voices the Iron Giant. And there is a part in the movie that is it's similar to a part of the Iron Giant that made me almost tear up. I'm not afraid to say it. I, start getting a little bit teary-eyed at that part. So definitely, I think the character people least expected to connect with ends up being Groot. And I think that's a testimony to how well the character was presented in this movie. And it was actually a neat note. When Vin Diesel was recording the lines for "I am Groot," they actually wrote next to it what he meant to, like what he was meaning. So I feel like by them doing that, if you really pay attention to that, you kind of could get a feel like, oh, if Groot was meaning this, I can kind of tell by the way he's saying "I am Groot." because he doesn't just say it, I am Groot, like that. You know, sometimes like I am Groot or I am Groot. You know, like he puts more into it. And I think that was something that was very nice to see. Speaking on our villainous aspects, we have Nebula, which I thought, you know, was pretty solid. I felt Karen Gillan struggled a bit with her lines, trying to hide her accent. And you could tell they kind of gave a little robotic-esque kind of tweak to it to match with the whole cybernetic enhancement part of the character. I didn't mind that, but it did sound really weird coming out of Karen Gillan. But I thought she did a good job. I would have loved to see more of her, though, in action. One thing this movie did is a lot of build up in it and a lot of mythology building for the Marvel Cinematic Universe at large, and that was really nice to see. I'm not going to spoil what they did, but if you're a hardcore Marvel fan and you know the comics, you're going to be blown away by some of the things they show in this movie and some of the things they mention when they recount the history on certain things. That blew my mind. I actually had to ask some of my friends that were with me. I was like, did you guys see that? Was that what I think it was? We were all like, yeah, it was. Wow. Mind blown. And maybe I'll make a spoiler video where I talk about that. But, you know, for the spoiler-free-ness of this video, I will not go into it. Ronan the Accuser. Now, this was a character I was very unsure of being in the movie. I'm not a big fan of how they've interpreted him in this movie. Basically, he's a Kree fanatic. And he's not really working for the Kree. He's more... It's kind of like, I guess I compare it to a real world thing. It's like having someone who's a religious fanatic. I don't want to use an example like the Taliban or anything like that, because that might be a bit more sensitive topic, but an Islamic extremist, a Christian extremist, any religion, an extremist of that, basically, not extremist, sorry. That's basically what Ronan is. He follows the religion of the Kree to a T, and he doesn't care what the Kree government says, you know, he cares only about what the religion says. I wish for this character they gave more background to him. Obviously, if you know the comics, you know quite a bit about Ronan. But if you're just watching this movie with no knowledge about the comics, you're kind of left a little bit empty regarding Ronan, which seems to be a problem with a lot of these Marvel villains recently. The collectors in this movie, I liked his parts, mostly because basically everything around him is Easter eggs, which is great to see. Not spoiling anything here, we do see a Dark Elf in one of his collections, which I thought was pretty nice connection, because he did appear in the post-credit scene for Thor: The Dark World, which was very nice to obviously see. Now, I'm not going to talk about the post-credit scenes in this movie. That would be for a different video, just because that would be spoiling, obviously, a part of the movie. I don't want to overlook this, though. Yondu was very well done. I was unsure when they did the weird, instead of the mohawk, they gave him like a more cybernetic-looking mohawk thing, which seems connected to his arrow. He is a badass. He was really cool. They kept on teasing the arrow, and then when they finally did do the arrow, it was just like, damn. Now you know why people back away from him when he, you know, reveals the arrow, because you don't want to be near him when he has the arrow out. Speaking on the Nova Corps briefly, I was kind of let down by Nova Corps. By that I mean, I liked it and all, but I felt, and you got the sense they were basically a peacekeeping organization due to the fact that they basically policed the galaxy, it seems, in this movie. That was nice and all. But one thing that got me was everybody obviously wants to see the Nova Corps from the comics. And by that, I mean more specifically they want to see Richard Rider and maybe Sam Alexander, but mostly Richard Rider. So I was kind of disappointed by the Nova Corps in this movie, because there's kind of no anticipated build-up towards that. There's no like hint towards, you know, maybe getting an Earth Nova Corps member. So that kind of disappointed me, but it was more of like a personal disappointment. It was not a criticism towards the film itself. The film treats the Nova Corps fine. It's a policing organization. They treat it as such. I have no issue with that. It's just like me personally, you know, being a fan, I was hoping, you know, they'd do some sort of Easter egg, you know, like maybe at the end of the movie, Peter Quill would be like, hey, you guys should get an Earth Nova, you know, something like that. That would have been pretty cool. Speaking on that, though, before I have to sneeze, my nose is starting to get stuffed up again. Sorry about that. But speaking on Peter Quill, they do hint more to his Marvel Now-esque history versus the traditional Star-Lord history, which I really like because they are making a Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so I feel like most likely they're going to explore that in the sequel. See, Thanos is in this movie that's been known for quite some time. He's brief, but straight to the point. They do say he's the most powerful being in the universe. A lot of people fear Thanos. A lot of people hate Thanos. So I'm looking forward to seeing more. He did appear slightly different than he did at the end of the Avengers, but it wasn't anything bad. He still looks great. He's big. That's good. I'm happy they didn't make a small Thanos because he's not small by any means. But I basically recounted all the characters. The story is very simple. It's the formation of the Guardians of the Galaxy against Ronan to defeat Ronan. There is an Infinity Stone in this movie that's been known for quite some time. I'm not going to reveal which one. At the end of this movie, you pretty much have a feel for every Infinity Stone that's been revealed, and basically you know the ones that are coming up in the future, which was pretty cool. Maybe I'll make a video recapping that later. But all in all, James Gunn, congratulations. You did what a lot of people didn't think would be a good thing. And by that I mean a lot of people knew this movie was going to be made when it was announced, but they didn't think it would be good, and they definitely didn't think it'd be great. But this movie is a great movie. If you know how I do reviews now, I don't give a score because I feel like it's pointless, because at the end of the day, you just want to know if you should see it or not see it. So I'll say, I believe everybody should see it, especially in IMAX or RPX 3D if possible. I know it's more expensive, but trust me, it makes a difference, and you're going to enjoy it more when you see it. A movie is about 2.5 hours though, so do plan to lose about 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours, depending on your traffic getting there and getting away from the theater that you are going to. But all in all, it's a great movie. Go see it. Marvel, congratulations, you did a great job. You expanded your universe successfully, which is the first step of hopefully many more to come, expanding your Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's not just Earth. And this is Hybrid, and I'll see you guys later.